When I was 10, I asked one of my friends, who just so happened to be a male, if we could go to the store and get some pads. I was met with a face of absolute disgust and repulsion and told to never talk about that to anyone, especially boys, because no one wants to hear or even think about that. When I was 11, I asked my substitute teacher if I could go to the bathroom. I then had to try and further but discreetly explain why no, I had to actually go. He then felt the need to pull me aside and tell me that there was no explanation to talk about that in class and that it was deeply inappropriate. These situations and other ones like them got me wondering, why are these functions seen as gross? Why are they taboo? And why are they only the female functions are seen this way? Well, it's because of deep-set misogyny in both the medical system and everyday life. In the medical system, one way it can be seen is how in the FDA, women weren't seen in their testing until 1986, after a policy that was put in place in 1977 that prohibited them from being included in this testing. And before 1977, they were rarely ever seen at all. It's also seen in how women have to wait longer in waiting rooms statistically, and that their symptoms are less likely to be recorded, being recorded 10% less of the time. And also how it can take 4 to 11 years to be diagnosed with endometriosis, a condition which girls as young as 12, still in primary school, suffer with simply because medical researchers deem it below their pay grade. Another way it's seen in the medical system is what medication is deemed to be safe enough to be put on the market. The pill is a method of contraception which some women choose to have to manage their periods or to attempt to prevent pregnancy. The thing is, though, that the sheet of possible side effects and warnings for this is 70 centimetres by 28 centimetres big. Let's see here. Some of these possible side effects include a change in libido, mood swings, increased appetite, but they can also include hair loss, glucose regulation, and tumours in the liver. Not overly common, but it still can happen. Interestingly enough about this, though, is that there was a male pill that was tested very briefly, but it was taken off the market and stopped testing because it was deemed too risky with too many risks. These risks included a change in appetite, maybe some weight gain and some hair loss, but what's new? This misogyny is also seen in just everyday social life. If a woman talks about normal XX chromosome functions, like their period or any sort of reproductive function, anything at all to do with the uterus, they're told that it's disgusting to not talk about it. Why can a man talk about his low sperm count, which no doubt deserves medical attention if wanted, but the second a woman mentions blood, everyone gets squeamish? Weren't you just watching a horror film? Why do people only care about blood in some situations? I have first-hand experience in the difference in treatment in hospital settings. I have been in and out of hospital myself for various reasons, and I've seen how my male peers have been treated more efficiently and more effectively than myself. Waiting longer in waiting rooms, being told it's being dramatic, and that sometimes we just have to get used to pain when I was 13 with a chronic brain injury. What do you think this taught me and girls are like me? That we're worthless, that we can and just need to wait to be treated. But really, how deep set is this misogyny? Well, it's known that early concepts suggested that the female organs were merely lesser counterparts of the male organs. Female organs have been named after men by men for as long as we can think of. For example, the fallopian tubes, named after Mr. Fallopio and his observations of the female body. We've always been seen as less than, and our body is included in that. This will not be an easy thing to counteract, and I'm not saying it will be. But turning a blind eye gets us nowhere as a society and never has. We need to stand up for our own needs and to support the women in our lives as they do so. We've come so far in both feminism and medical research, but the developments in female health has seen minor development in comparison. So we need to stand up for ourselves and the women in our lives and support them. Talk about your periods. Make insecure men and women uncomfortable with how well you know your body. And the solution found by more research has no reason to be a greatly invasive procedure that involves digging into uterine flesh just to maybe find some relief from an implant. There's no need. We've come so far in medical research. Why is that still a thing? So make people uncomfortable, talk about your periods. Don't be someone that people look back on in history and wonder why you didn't just support others and their needs. Thank you.